I linked up Vera to Cupid Ambuka, who's the founder and director of Cupid Movers Limited, which has been in existence for the past decade. Cupid has served numerous household and commercial clients, including Bangladesh High Commission, Central Bank of Kenya, Simba Corporation, Villa Rosa Kempinski, amongst many other notable organizations.
Hi, my name is Vera. I'm the director at First Link Movers, and I'm here to learn more about the moving company since you've been there for a decade now.
Thanks, Vera. Welcome to Dove Movers. Dove Movers was established in 2010. This is our 9th year in business.
So how has it been in terms of the challenges that you have faced?
Challenges never change, and we get accustomed to new ones each and every year. Our first challenge was when we were starting, because we started with minimal capital, and coping with our operations was quite a problem. That affected us in our first 2 years. In the third year, we could at least manage to balance because we had seen the business schedules. We had also seen how much was coming in. We knew when to expect what. So it eased up as we got along.
Okay. And then if I may ask, what are the key things that you've put in track so that you keep up with the upcoming movers?
We are not really worried about competition. We are worried about ourselves and the community we're serving out there. Because at the end of the day, we will have business depending on what we are giving them. So if competition offers better than we do, then they'll obviously take it away.
Okay. Then how big is your company? Are they casuals? Are they fully permanently employed?
When we started, we had only 3 employees. The rest were casuals. Right now, we have an employee base of about 12. And that includes the actual team that is on the ground. That is about 10 packers. These are the actual production guys. And we value them more than we even value the office staff, because we are on the control end. We are just listening to what the customer is saying, what the customer is expecting. But the main guy here, the guy we are selling here, is the mover himself.
And then have you done international moves?
Yes, and we've done.
Yes. So far I've done like 4 of them. Are there challenges that I might encounter probably in the future?
You definitely will. As we are talking now, we are on our 38th sea export.
Wow.
On our 17th road export. On our 13th sea import. On our 27th air export. And on our 20th air import. And for the local removers, we are counting about 2,000 now since we started. When the volume for the exports starts increasing, that is the moves beyond the boundaries of this country, the challenges are now the appetite for going for more. But remember, every country has got its own challenges. If you're looking at the East African region, it might be easy because the community shares standard tariffs.
Like Comesa.
Yeah, they share the same culture.
Yes.
But when you start moving across Asia, across Europe, across the Americas, down in Australia, there's a complete culture shock, and the timing as well. So international moves are good, but they need a lot, because in relocations, what we are looking at is the 3 parts of the move. There's the origin part, there's the freight part, and there's the destination part. The destination part is usually the biggest challenge. What are the requirements in, say, Qatar? Your staff should have that information. What are the requirements to get a shipment into the US? Your staff should have that information. The farthest we've done as Dove Movers is down to Fiji, Suva in Fiji. The shortest we've done in sea exports is to South Africa. And for your information, we had trouble with the shortest move than we had with the longest move. So the challenges are varied.
What has made you stand out from the rest of the movers?
As I first told you, our price tag or our value tag is the actual mover. Parking standards. The rest of the processes, communication and all that, we are in a fast world right now. You can easily communicate with somebody in the US faster now than you could do 10 years ago. You can quickly communicate with somebody in Australia faster now than you could do some few years ago. So the main challenge here is the actual packing. How are we looking at the actual packing? Say a shipment has a problem and then it has to stay in a port for 1 or 2 years. Is this item going to maintain the same quality it had while it was being packed? So when we are doing international moves, we are more worried about the packing, the standard of packing, because anything can happen. If an accident occurs, what are the chances on the damages and all that? So that is what has made us stand out.
Are there any do's and don'ts, main ones for that you can advise for us who are upcoming movers?
I wouldn't say there are do's or don'ts. A reason being, relocations is an industry that makes you keep learning every new thing. You moved a house in, say, an estate in Nairobi, you don't expect the same in an estate in, say, Kisumu. Yes? You move a family in Nairobi that is not a family that has been brought up in this country, for example, or it's a family that is from a different culture. For example, Nairobi is a cosmopolitan area. You'll have people from all over the world. What is their culture? What do they own most is different. What a West African would own would be much more or much less than what an East African would consider, because personal effects are quite sentimental. We can't put a value on them.
Yes. What are your pricing metrics?
Pricing metrics, I'll talk first on the local removals. And then
how do you go about it?
And then talk about the international moves.
Yes. When you want to quote, how do you go about it?
On the local relocations, there are three key areas we look at. One is, not three, five, sorry. One is the distance between the 2 points. Secondly is the quantity. When we're talking of quantity, we are talking of volumes and weights. Then thirdly, there's the value of the effects. Say you are moving something that is worth 1 million Kenya shillings. It might be one item. It might not be bulky. What are the challenges you're facing compared to moving something that is much bulkier but is cheaper in terms of its value and in terms of its quality? And then the fifth is the access. Like old buildings might have access issues. New buildings are trying to cope with access issues, with security issues, with emergency access issues. So they vary. So those are the aspects we look at.
What about your the marketing strategies that has worked for you?
Fortunately or unfortunately, we haven't marketed that much. We've relied on referrals. We are not so active on social media. We started engaging on social media about a year ago. Our reason for this model was we wanted to create the product first before we start selling the product. Most mistakes people do is they market the product before creating the product. And then you have volume and you can't cope with the business. The damage is usually detrimental.
And I know in this business you can't miss a complaint from a client. So in such a scenario, how do you deal with customer complaints?
Yes, we've had several complaints. And the best way of handling complaints is facing them as they are. Don't try to be too good. And don't also feel sorry for what has happened. Let it be a learning experience.
Thanks for the information. I believe it's going to have an impact on my business.
Thanks a lot, Vera. Welcome to the moving family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. After meeting with Cupid of Dove Movers, I've learned that you shouldn't be worried about the pricing so long as your work is good. All the referrals will come back to you. And thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having watched the show. Hope you've learned a thing or two from the conversation between Cupid and Vera about the whole movers business. Look, as you've seen, it's not a business that requires so much capital, so there's no need for you to fear venturing into entrepreneurship. If you're an entrepreneur out there and you like to be profiled, feel free to reach us on our social media handles. And also remember, each and every Wednesday to grab a copy of the Standard to reach the Business Coach column. And also, the Business Coach .co.ke is already up and running, so if you want to learn more about the past shows and also something about entrepreneurship, feel free to visit businesscoach.co.ke. My name is Ian Dennis, and this has been The Business Coach, where we help entrepreneurs better their businesses. Here are events to take note of. On September 26th, there's an Entrepreneurship Thursdays event happening at Chandaria Business Innovation Center from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. On October 4th, there's an Entrepreneurship Workforce happening at the Strathmore Business School from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. On October 3rd to 5th, there's a world-class speakers training happening at Sarovo Stanley from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. If you like your event mentioned or the Business Coach to be a part of your event, feel free to reach us on our social media handles.